All right, everybody. Welcome to the play-in race for the 2021 A Link to the Past Crosskeys tournament. So on this channel, we're going to have Freddy and Joel Ninja and I already forget who the fourth person was. Wallkicks. Yeah, the important one. Not the important one, but the one that's more well-known. So for comms, we're going to have Shelzer, AA, and Sharky, thank you. God, I'm bad with names. And then myself, Scott, and Schulzer are also going to be tracking for you. So I'm going to pass you over to them because you'd rather listen to them than me. And let's see how this goes. Good luck to everybody.
Yeah, hello. Welcome, ZeldaSpeedRuns. And I'm looking forward to an exciting one. I'm sure you'll notice Schulzer there's pulling double duty, but don't worry. He went 7-1 in the bracket. He's big-brained. But yeah, we're going to have a real exciting race here. So for the play-in race, there are actually 16 total people in the race, and the top 10 are going to make the finals bracket. On this side, as said, we're watching Wallkicks, Freda, and Hulo Ninja, but there are many others. You can see 3 more each on ZSR 2 and 3 if you want to overload your computer and watch a bunch at once. But I'm real excited to see how this one turns out.
I myself love big Crosskeys races, playing the same seed, getting to compare yourself to not only like one runner or like 10 at the time. It's gonna be really interesting if one or the other tries to meta game. Even maybe with an earlier finish time. I got that one of these 16 or 17.
I'm going to hop back in here for 1 second, guys. And I also want to throw out a huge thank you to Trez, who made the 3-player restream setup that you're seeing right now this morning. So just huge shout out to Trez for doing that for us so that we could do these races like this. All right, now back to you guys.
Yeah, I will say, Schulzer, if you really wanted to enjoy this experience, you could have lost another game.
I take the free ticket to the brackets. I don't want to be in the place.
It will
be a really stressful experience for the runner.
The metagaming thing is worth mentioning, though, because all the other races in this tournament are simple 1v1 races. So you really can't draw too many conclusions other than whether your opponent's finished or not, which isn't the most powerful thing. But here, with 16 people, it's really likely that someone is going to God route this. And at the same time, there's a little temptation to play conservatively because you only have to get top 10. It's not much worse to get 10th than first. It's just a lot worse to get 11th.
There's a difference between like being first 3 because then you're in the top half of the seeding and you get another 2 runner instead of a 7-1 runner. But that's basically it.
So
yeah, and I have to say, we saw a very interesting thing happen on Freda's side right off the bat. He found bombs in his first chest, walked out of Sank at Useless Fairy, went to set up Houlihan Room, did it wrong, and ended up in back of Sank anyway. I'm very confused at this starting sequence from Freda.
He may have just decided to abort out of doing Houlihan when he realized that he actually had the resources to go in and do the back of escape. And now all the runners having gone into Link's house can see that there's a bug net in the first chest, which I believe guarantees that Aghanim's going to be required for this seed, but you guys tell me you're more versed in this.
Yeah,
well, the bug net may be
only blocks I get 2 and not I get 1. I get 2 we need 4 more small keys and a big key and actually a way to get to Aga 2, so...
It actually has no logical relevance for Aga 2 either, because you need a sword or hammer to beat Moldorm 2. It actually does nothing, but it is an emotional support net.
Speaking of emotional support nets, it looks like Freddy has found both Ice Palace and Tower of Hera very early off, and meanwhile Julo has managed to find Hyrule, and going through the center of Hyrule has run into the Dark World Bonk Rocks. So we're getting a huge amount of variation in what our runners are doing, and it's the 2-minute mark, so strap in everyone. This is going to be a blast.
Yeah, watching 2 runners can be quite hard sometimes, but watching Seasoners is even worse. And now you see the problem by not doing Sankstar, because there were 3 bombs sank, and Crosskeys has now not had the bomb for Sasha, which is a convenience that there are 3 bombs sank, but they got the money. He got a little bit advantage over Crosskeys in the beginning.
We did find a small amount of useful information on Wallkick's side. He found Sasha, and as it turns out, Desert Palace is the green pendant for this seed.
I'm going to comment on something we saw on Hulo's side as well. With 3 runners, it's going to be a little more chaotic back and forth than we're used to, but Hulo explored all the castle connectors, and they all led to the same general region of South Dark World. That doesn't really advance him at all, but that meant it was fairly fast for him to accumulate all that information. And that really can end up being a big deal over the course of a race.
Yeah, also what's really nice about it, see that guards are in the bomb size pack, so you have more chances in the early game to get some bombs, which Zelda and Juno already used to get some of them.
Also
in terms of our early finds, we aren't really seeing much. The only truly interesting things I think we found are the Desert Thieves small keys and back of Sank. And we found, a couple dungeon entrances we can't do much with, but you almost have to wonder whether this is going to be one of those stingier starts, which means more value concentrated in some of the later tier entrances.
Freddy, throwing the bombs from the guy off the wall at the soldiers in order to get a few extra tree pulls. This is something new for me. I think I learned something each time I watch one of these, so...
Yeah, you most of the time don't bother killing those guards, but them being in the bomb size pack is not too bad, especially if you don't have done Hulian early, so you don't have money for bombs in the shop.
Given
that is the second runner to head into Kakariko. Juno was putting a connector, I don't know which one, and that led him, and he was stuck in the Dark World. Let's see that is.
So given the placement of Sanctuary, how much priority would you two put on the checks that are in Kakariko Village right now? Because it seems like it's a long ways to get there.
I would prioritize CAC very heavily, and I would not take connectors.
I would probably take even short connectors. Most of the time you can come back, and even if you follow one connector here, you can get to Kakariko to the Sankstar, walking up the North Dark without you just miss an entrance there with the glove. But most of the time you can skip one thing and it's okay, and it doesn't have to burn you that you follow one early.
I will say we got a little spy on, I think it was it Wallkick's side? One of them looked at the race game item and saw a small key there, so that could be a little bit of intrigue for much later in the race.
My stream actually synchronized on that, so I missed what that was. Thank you for that.
That's a really important connector up Floating Island, Brother's house, which is at the Lumberjack.
Yeah, I always like to think about connectors in terms of, there's really the big 3 connectors. There's Floating Islands, there's the top of Bumper Cave, and there's the middle bridge of Turtle Rock. Because those are the 3 connectors that are the only way to get to certain things. And between the 3 of them, you end up with a ton of world access anyway.
We're also finding out that Hera and Ice Palace, which are right next to Link's house, are the 5 and 6 crystals. So we've got some really close access to a few dungeons. The other thing I'm noticing is that I think we've still got 2 more drop downs to see between our 3 runners here. One of them being CAC and one of them being what Julo's right next to here. And we still haven't seen the well, I don't think, and I don't think we've seen Ganon either.
Yeah, those are definitely things of significance. We do see Hulo finding the well in the woods, and Wall kick side, that desert small key we got in back of Sank led straight to a Meyer big key and a Mir. So there's that start we were looking for.
And now walking to connectors is good again because we have to.
Yeah, Mir definitely changes my thinking about connectors heavily. It just lets you do a lot more with just almost any connector. And when you find Mir in, it's actually Sphere 1 here because Desert Small Key was the Sphere 0 item. But a Mir in the first 10 minutes, the odds that the Mir is your required path to Moon Pearl end up really high. And speaking of things you're looking for, boots lead to sword this seed.
Nice.
Nice, it's all, but I can't get it. Where exactly did we find the suppress in the beginning? I did not catch it on wall kick side.
Speaking of things we didn't catch, according to his tracker, Hulo has the lamp. Do we know where that was?
That was in the web. In the woods.
I think Hulo's been through a few desert entrances at this point, or at least it was trying to clear some of that area, so I didn't see exactly which one had it.
Okay, also a good thing, Julo finding the middle entrance of Spectral Connector while Walkies himself found the top connector.
Oh, Hulo gets stuck at King's Tomb. That's very annoying.
An extra hike. Meanwhile, Freddy has found the back of Skull Woods here.
Yeah, this is always good to find early. The Death Warp's very fast when you're still on 3 hearts. And you get an item. Logically, you usually don't have to come back here until the very end, though practically you usually just do it in mid-game whenever it's convenient.
Unfortunately for Freddy, he is in the Pacific time zone, so 10:20 in the morning is a little bit early for that $5 sandwich he found in there.
It's still better than playing at 2 AM like Juno.
You're not wrong. And Freddy just found Ganon's tower.
Hey, I think I'm going to speak for Jay Coper, who's also in this race, that playing at 2 AM would be much preferred.
I'm not sure.
That death isn't that bad from wall kicks, because he'd already explored East Death Mountain. That just prevented him from going back through that connector, which, no big deal. He can just go somewhere else with his mirror.
Yes, and the connector is Goblin. That he wanted to try to get to. So even better for him. He's off to Kakariko as well. Might end up in this on Dark Floating Island at some point. I think in a light belt, and he has the ability to actually even go to left side and save the old man. So that could be a huge advantage early from wall kicks here.
I want to say that Julo did find Floating Island through one of these connectors. Freddy, unfortunately, not finding much of anything in Ganon's tower, and there was 10 arrows on the torch.
I mean, Ganon's tower is one of those things. You don't necessarily expect anything when you find it with nothing, but you keep it heavily in mind going forward after that. Because now you know, hammer plus hook shot's a huge key, cane plus fire rod's a huge key. Just a ton of items all at once.
1/8 of the complete item pool are in GT, so obviously there's, especially in Tier 1, there's something in GT. But they're also now getting his land.
Yeah, at this point I expect to see a lot of early doubling back. Wall kicks is going to be probably prioritizing looking for the well. We'll be rewarded with lamp, and if the combo of mirror plus lamp doesn't scream go to Western Mountain, I don't know what does.
If you're fine, and he will probably find the connector that leads to Darkest Mountain, because that's literally at the end of one zip he's going. He has to go through there, and then basically are forced to do Old Man, especially because he already saw the most out of East Death Mountain.
Yeah, and similarly, I feel like the early game route for both Freda and Hulo, it has to funnel them into that mirror sooner or later. I don't remember precisely where the desert entrances were, but I don't think they were anywhere too bad.
I think they had to be somewhere in the South Light World, but I cannot pinpoint it down.
Oh, there's another big connector Hulo just found. He found his way to the Middle Turtle Rock Bridge, and it looks like it's one of those fun cases where it's a double connector leading up there.
Just a bit unfortunate he's finding all these connectors without already having the mirror, but this is definitely great knowledge.
It's doubly frustrating because he's just been dumped into the Village of Outcasts. If he had mirror, he could jump down and do the 2 mirror entrances to the south here. In my experience, it is very common for that to be an early game requirement. Get mirror, go to Village of Outcasts, jump down.
This point mirror has to do anything, even once through how's it called? Desert Palace, or now the Floating Island, or now the South mirror checks. But Zelda might actually get this mirror now because he gets to the Desert Connector. Desert left, which was at the bottom of Darkness Mountain. So he might actually get his mirror here.
Finding out that the Turtle Rock entrance is Quake over on Freddy's side.
And that's one of those real defensive plays that is born out of this being a big play-in. Like, normally, I wouldn't think almost anyone in this early game situation would actually check TR Medallion. The odds it's important are so low. But if you only need to finish in top half, then, you know, knowing whether you could be in go mode or not might be a little more crucial.
I would still not check it. Like, it's so low-key. You don't have a glove. You need hammer. You need both gloves. You need a moon pearl. You need so many items to actually have something there. It's so there.
And the odds aren't even bad. You find all 3 medallions before you find Mitts plus hammer, right?
So this is an interesting play here because Ball Kicks found this, but I think from the opposite side. Freddy found the floating island, dropped down, found the left side entrance to desert, and is now deciding to bunny revive so that he can go through here and use his desert small key, which should lead to the mirror as well.
Yeah, and I think this is a really easy decision for Freda because, like, in his mind, he hasn't found really much interesting at all other than the Desert Small Key, and he's just been put in the Desert Palace. Odds are one of these doors at least leads to Light World, and it does. Really likely this is progression, and we know it's a double reward. Meyer big key for the long-term value, and Mirror for the short-term value, all at once.
Yeah, we also should not forget that Shooter was really unfortunate. He basically followed every connect in the Dark World, but the one he didn't was Floating Island, and that actually led to progression.
Although he may find the right side of desert here very soon and then end up caught up anyway.
Yeah, still really unlucky that he finds that in that order. But let's see where the side is going. I don't think we have seen that from any of us here.
I think this might be our first Ice Rod.
Top of the castle is not bad at all, in my opinion.
And it has season inside. Don't have the season pick yet, but still a nice 35 4 items. Take a bit longer than some other checks, but cannot skip them.
I believe we've seen the Thieves Town small, but not the big yet.
Yeah, the Thieves Town small was in back of Escape along with the Desert small. So I'm definitely suspicious of having to return here soon, but I mean, it's really should just be an obvious statement. Nothing would dissuade me from getting these 4 chests right here, right now.
Wallkick's also spending a few bombs to check out what's in Tower of Hera, finding more bombs at the bottom and deciding that's kind of a wash.
And Chulo still missing his Mr. Pest entrance, which I think was at, how's it called? The dam. And he just avoids his mirror the entire scene.
I gotta say, that is a real suspicious Ice Palace big key coming out of Thieves Town right there. That gets my wheels turning about what this seed has in store for us.
We need to find either bombers or fire them first, before that big key can even be interesting.
Yeah, it's just...
play?
I mean, I'm just looking at all the little puzzle pieces we have. Ice and Hera are the 5-6 crystals. They're both Sphere 0 entrances. We just got an Ice big key. I mean, it almost feels like things are coming together one piece at a time for some real magic here.
I think one of the Vikings should now prioritize getting to the Old Man. The spawn point of Old Man can be so good if it's in a good location, especially with early mirror and such and all of the items. Like, you cannot leave that alone for too long, in my opinion. That can be such a huge advantage if you get a good spawn point from it.
Yeah, like, especially you just have to kind of factor in the odds that the Old Man saving quick when you already have mirror in your inventory is a more useful spawn point than the two you have so far. Honestly, those are really good odds.
So it looks like Freddy's found where the original Light World connector was to Desert, because Agina's cave is the Desert Center entrance.
Yeah, Freda found, I think there's actually 2 connectors to the top of the castle too. So while I was up there, he found the DM exit cave. He took it to the fairy cave on the way to Desert, and then just went over to Agina's cave while he was in the area. Pretty sensible play. Hulo, on the other hand, is enjoying true suffering, finding Paradox Cave with 0 bombs. That, and it's up on the mountain too. That hurts.
I mean, doing Dark Mountain with 4 hearts for me would be a brief history of pain, but this is a much better runner than I am, so I have no doubts he should be able to make some progress here, if progress is to be found on the west side of Death Mountain.
Yeah, I have no doubts about
it. He came on the mountain through the spider cave connector, didn't he?
He did, I think. He came out of... I did not see where the start of Spiral Cave, but he hopped out of Spiral Cave and suddenly he was on Death Mountain.
Yeah, I have no real doubts about his ability executionally to handle this mountain. My fear is that there's not going to be a bomb source up here, so he's going to have to leave, get bombs, go back through Spiral Cave. Old Man bailing him out. Old Man is Hulo's friend today.
He still has to watch out. 3 hearts is really scary. He has the boomerang to get rid of the enemies, the dead dogs. But that still can be a pain.
And getting some very interesting information here. That connector for Spiral Cave was actually in the island in Lake Hylia, I believe, which he fake flippered into.
Shoutouts to actually playing the archery game.
Yeah, I do not have the gusto to even attempt that in a race that matters. That's impressive.
And I did not expect that Julo is our first unnatural Old Man.
Freda ending up in a similar area just by a different path, taking his mirror back to the dark floating island, and then mirroring the light world on the west side, looks at Super Bunny Cave and decides, there's a lot of caves here to check out first.
Yeah, I really agree with Freda's decision here. You clear out the mountain, and you end at Super Bunny Cave.
Then you have also a Paradox Cave, which you can also follow.
Julo did end up finding some bombs here, so it looks like he's back in Paradox Cave now.
Yeah, Old Man bailed him out by giving him a 3 stack of bombs. And I think very wisely, Hulo went into Paradox Cave, bombed open the 1 cave, bombed open the shop, bought a 10 stack. Totally textbook for how you handle this situation.
Unfortunately, actually no, Julo doesn't have his mirror yet, so if he did make it to the cave where he could farm some bombs out here like Freddy did, he would not be able to come back. So that was actually very much the better play.
So speaking of interesting finds, we just found the Thieves Town big key here. We already have the Thieves Town small key. With no weapon to fight blind, that puts 2 checks in logic in Thieves Town. And Hulo hasn't found Thieves Town yet, so that could be real spicy when he does. But there's going to be the real sort of tension when Wallkicks and Freda find it. Both are going to find it shortly. What do I do with this big key, which seems to be the only thing of interest in Paradox Cave?
I mean, as long as you don't have access to the boss, like any weapon, you don't want to go into Thieves Town, especially if you already saw it.
And at the far end of Paradox Cave is, yeah, I can't even remember what you call that side on the dark side.
That is the bottom of Bumper Cave in Vanilla, but the thing that's rough about that is that puts the Death Mountain entrance in Light World into logic with a mirror, and Hulo just doesn't have it. If that's like a critical progression entrance in the early game, that could be really punishing for Hulo.
Yeah, Hulo decided to, face tank trying to get out of that entrance, got there with 1 heart, and then tried to go back because he didn't have his mirror, and just did not have the health to make it through. So Julo's now giving us some more kicks, or more checks. Looks like this is going to be Hera, which I want to say is bombs and a big 20 right now.
Actually, not what Julo wants to see. Well, yeah, and we have a Vanilla Ganon, so we will see a GT climb today. Yeah, we haven't found Ganon.
Yeah, that's correct. I don't think any of our 3 runners have seen Ganon, and I want to say we've seen all of the drop-down checks in the Light World now.
Yeah, I want to say that too. I'm trying to remember where Magic Bat was.
Wait, actually, we might be short 1. I don't think we've seen the drop-down, or have we seen the drop-down that's next to the Smiths?
We must have seen that one, and I cannot remember that it was Ganon on that side.
They did check Sank. Might have been Useless Fairy. This is part of the fun and excitement. The chat and the commentators get to find out where stuff is together.
Oh my god,
Freda
got sniped.
Bad spot here.
See if he gets out of it. Has to use one more bomb, but survives, but cannot go back to this mountain. He can get back to this mountain with 1 heart. He might just bail out and drop down here.
Well, he did find another heart in one of those chests, so he could technically bomb jump, but yeah, it's not going to matter. Wallkick's now making the effort to go over to the west side of Death Mountain, and Freda finding the pyramid.
So here's a big decision point for Freda right here. You can mirror on top of the pyramid and go right back into Thieves right now. You just found the Thieves' big key. Do you make that play?
With no weapons and 2 hearts, that's definitely that's a play. That's a gusto play.
I don't think you make that play. It's only 2 items you can actually get there. You can put the boss in its place, but then you skip 1 item in the back. It does not feel like the right choice. And you can just do Eastern Palace area here with Mirror, which is probably as good as doing Seastone here.
It's definitely a better play. I mean, if you can pull off winning or doing well in a play-in game 3 or 4 dipping Thieves Town, then, I mean, I'm impressed, but maybe not the best math on that one.
Yeah, the fact that Freda hadn't done the eastern area does definitely tilt it a little more in this direction. Between all 3 runners, I'm increasingly suspecting that Thieves Town play is going to be required. We still have some room for it not to be, but it's seeming more and more likely.
That's probably where our Moon Pearl is at this point.
What's existent on Eastern Palace? Already got our light world information for pendants and crystals at this 27-minute mark. At least for
Which
one runner.
Which I feel like Julo found at like the 4 or 5 minute mark, so definitely
Nice.
a lot of variance here.
Chulo still doesn't find his Miller, but probably will now after he gets to the connector.
Yeah, I believe this connector is going to kick him out next to Desert, and Desert Center is going to be in Agina's Cave. So both Wall Kicks and Julo are retracing information we've seen. I think Freddy's the one of the three that's giving us new info so far.
Yeah, but
did Freda just not Super Bunny for the item in the brewery?
Yes.
I can't believe he doesn't know the trick. I wonder why he chose not to do it.
I think it tried at the how's it called? Graveyard Ledge, but he didn't succeed there, which actually wouldn't have helped him, and was like, I'm not doing this today. Maybe he just saying logic, which is probably not a bad thing in this seed. How this is going.
Big seed with a lot of people. You might not want to waste time trying to get any specific trick going and just keep plowing on through.
Yeah, the ticket itself is not hard. If you can do it, you don't lose time by doing that check. But if you mess it up like 2 or 3 times, it gets really annoying.
I just feel kind of bad having to walk back to Dark Flute 5, but it's the life we're living today.
I mean, we're 30 minutes into a Crosskeys seed, so this is about the time where you start staring at the race game channel and see who's already finished, right? Right?
Wow,
No?
that's one of the...
Go ahead. Sorry.
That's one of the useless orbmans I've ever seen. Graveyard Ledge, which is in itself not that bad of a spot, but then you have Thank Start at the useless ferry, which basically makes the one entrance dumb. But that other exit is on the other side really good. It gets you on Darkness Mountain, it gets you the complete East Death Mountain. He can go to Super Bunny again. Zelda has choices now. That connector from Man is really important. Getting that.
It's also just generally really nice to just know the Turtle Rock entrance isn't one you're going to have to fool with. We've actually ruled out a couple of really bad late game entrances in a row between our runners here. We've ruled out both Super Bomb and the Turtle Rock entrance.
Yeah, I don't think we're seeing entrance combo here in the seat. How this is going, especially. We have already seen a bunch of crystals which fires. Like Eastern Palace requires a big key. We need a GT big key at some point.
We're seeing all 3 of our runners clear out various things on Death Mountain right now. Julo and Freddy were actually at about the same place at the same time there. I didn't see if we got a high 5, but it felt like we did.
Boy kicks, no! You had to mirror to that entrance. You haven't seen it in the light well.
Yeah, that's a pretty big screw up from Wall Kicks, to honestly put it lightly. We know Hulo has orphaned the same thing, but in Hulo's case, he didn't have the mirror at the time. Like, that's just rough.
I mean, it's easy to forget because it's you don't do it often, but that can be a game loser if you forget it for a long time.
Yeah, because that is 100% in logic.
It's going to depend on what's actually in there and if any of our other racers give us that information, or that could just be hiding for a while. But
I mean, kind of the thing with that sort of mistake that makes it hurt more is like, let's say it's like a shop or a fortune teller. You're still eventually going to go back to check even with gloves, so you're guaranteed to lose time forgetting to do that. You're just hoping you only lose a little time instead of a lot of time, but it's not good no matter what.
Okay, we'll probably see if that walking to Old Man Cave again, but this time to get Super Bunny Cave.
We don't know what it happens to be yet, but Julo did check the floating island and found the map to Eastern on it.
Yeah, that's Eastern. That's Existal.
Meanwhile, Wallkicks is going to give us some additional information here. Checking out the race game, finding Aga Tower inside the left side of Brothers.
Is the first chest in Aga Tower actually in Logic with only bombs?
Yes, it is. It's not that easy. I would not blame Wallkicks for not doing it.
Yeah, you need at least 6 bombs. But it's doable. It's just that easy.
Three hearts here with those 2 blue guys chasing you around, though, is not going to be fun, so...
I mean, you can get up to, what would it be, 4 hearts if you take a death?
True. So, Wallkicks decides to nope out of that for now. He's got more of the Southern Dark World to check out.
Yeah, and I can agree with that decision, because honestly, like, it's not that I don't think Wallkicks can do it. I have every faith he can do it, but is it the fastest thing he can do when literally any weapon will cut the time more than in half for making that check?
Also, he might not even be able to. He doesn't know how it's... I mean, he can do it, but it's not on your mind when you find Aga Tower with no weapon.
Freda goes to Super Bunny Cave now, finds the big key to Skull Woods, and the back of Desert Palace on the Light World side of that ledge.
So I will, for a little logic insight here, Bomb's Landmoliss is not in Logic. So if we find Desert Big Key, that does not mean killing Landmos in Logic.
I think that one is in normal Randomizer, which is not Anthem, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's Landmo with only 10 bombs is very inconsistent, and it's not guaranteed you'll have access to Capacity Fairy. Now, on the other hand, with that Cane of Samaria in the first chest of Hyrule Castle, Cane Landmo is in Logic.
And now we can do everything. We can do Sea Stone, we can do Aga Tower, we could do Desert Palace if we have the big key. We have a weapon, boys, and it's in Logic?
And I gotta say, none of that's gonna pay off. You're gonna need to go to GT Tile Room with that cane.
Nah, it's Aga Tower.
Okay, why not both? So Wallkicks finding Meyer on the Dark World, just I can't remember the name of that shop there. Meanwhile, Julo is still working his way through Hyrule, finds a GT Small, and Frede is trying to avoid all of these jokers here and clearing out checks in Skullwoods right now.
At least he's not, he has not to worry about that he's getting soft-locked in Skullwood, so he can do every single check here, because he has already also found the big key, and he gets an out of logic love. Wow, that was a really good sequence break for him. But that raises the question again, where the heck is the Moon Pendant Seed?
Yeah, we still have a lot of possibilities for that. We know Fredo's not heading toward it, but either of the other players could be.
Looks like Julo's going to give us a Dark Cross Room check now, and I'm curious where Wallkicks is headed at this point.
Looks like Wallkicks is... I don't know if he knew he was about to do this, but he's about to do some more work on the mountain. Just checked out. I think that's the first time he's been through the back of the old man cave.
It should be the first time.
Depending on where and if he drops down here, he may find his Thieves Town big.
I gotta say, going to the castle is seeming really important. There's a hammer. We can full clear Thieves Town now.
Uh-oh. I have a feeling about Thieves Town. I don't think Frede has... Oh, I mean... All of them has found at least one entrance to Hyrule Castle, and they might be inclined to do this.
I mean, with enough bombs, Julo may be even able to clean out the bottom of Ganon's tower now.
To clarify for chat, the hammer is in Dark Cross. So going to Hyrule Castle gets you an in-logic Kana, Samaria, and hammer. It is the place to be.
Now we can go to both sides of GT to get other logic checks, which are slow and hard.
Are they actually out of logic at this point, though? GT's in the light world.
Yeah, he's saying that you can use hammer plus bomb jumps to do left side, or some true nonsense on the right side with, you know, your lamp to do that room without fire rod.
Excellent point. This is why you guys have good records in this tournament, and I was on the loser side.
How good my record was debatable. Less debatable how good Schulzer's record was. That is a legitimately very good record.
Oh, Freddy cannot. It was a bad Skywood, so he's going to Pacalico again. He might be inclined to go into Hydrocastle with the Milo and get his hammer in Somalia at this point.
And wall kicks. Oh, wall kicks in Blind's Hut, finding the Moon Pearl.
Wait. Where's Blind's Hut?
I did not.
Is it a left up down?
And the flippers. I did not see where that entrance was.
Was it actually the left up down? Oh my fucking god! You had to stop the left.
In fairness, we have a connector to that middle bridge too. If you find that connector, you can mirror on it.
Which one was it again? I think Chulo found it, because Chulo found everything connected in this game.
Yeah, Freddy is now going through Hyrule, so he's going to find his hammer and his cane. Well, assuming he goes into Dark Cross, he'll also find his hammer here.
I think it's pretty inconceivable Freddo wouldn't do Dark Cross here. I mean, you have a mirror to go back quickly. You have a lamp to just walk there. It's free, actually.
Yeah, it's free, but hopefully he doesn't forget it. And that was connected to Tialage. Which one is it again?
And Julo is also about to find his Moon Pearl in the same spot here, the vanilla entrance to Spiral Cave.
Yeah. Where was it connected again? To the TR ledge?
I want to the TR ledge? Oh, sorry, I was about to say that I think the old man in the mountain puts you out in Turtle Rock, but...
I think we actually have two connectors up here. I know the Fairy Ascent Cave leads here, but the other side of it's in Village of Outcasts. I think the left side's also a connector to this middle ledge. I don't remember which cave that one is.
Wallkicks may be giving us Zora checks here in a moment with almost 600 rupees to his name.
Yeah, he's missing out on that hammer and the glove maybe for a longer time.
Well, I guess we'll have to see. That hammer can block a lot of different places you can go, right?
Yeah, between our three runners, early on, I'm actually really liking what Hulo's situation is like, because he's found the hammer and the cane, he has the Moon Pearl flippers, the mirror, and he's just being dumped into Dark World, where he can really explore this properly.
Yeah, hammer actually doesn't unlock that much, as it seems like, in my opinion. Of course, it unlocks a bunch of stuff in GT, but it doesn't unlock like any stuff in the dungeon besides Ice Palace, and that's only 2 checks right now. The hammer hard locks in there.
Though again, with the Moon Pearl, you're dumped in Village of Outcast. At a minimum, hammer's one entrance right there.
And Freddy does find the hammer in the Dark Cross room, so...
Yeah, he can follow this connector again. Like, he will get spit out perfectly to get this entire south part of the Dark World, besides Hype Cave. Which isn't that bad, because he did it the first time he found Hyrule Castle. And he can even check the first chest in Naga Tower now.
And in terms of sequence breaks in Ganon's Tower, Personally, what I would probably do would be sequence break the Stalfos room, but not do any of the other sequence breaks. I don't know what you guys' feeling on that is.
I would do nothing.
So, I think in both of the races I actually won. I had boots but not hookshot, and did a couple of bomb jumps in the left side that got me to where I was either close or able to keep up with my opponents. So I would do left side if I was missing everything but the hook shot. Having to do 5 or 6 bomb jumps to get down, though, is a very big bridge to cross.
Yeah, that's kind of why it's a little tempting to do just Stalfos room, because that's only 2 bomb jumps, and it's not gated logically by any keys. But looks like Hulo's just going to move on. It's justifiable enough. For all we know, hookshot's free somewhere just behind Moon Pearl.
Oh, I actually have to take items.
So the only thing that one of our runners has, the other 2 don't at this point, is that glove that Freddy found. Both Wall Kicks and Julo have picked up their flippers and Moon Pearl, and then Hulo also has the hammer and cane.
Well, Hammer ended up leading us to Agana's cave in the Village of Outcasts. Let's see if this is a significant little point for us.
Which is actually more terrifying to you guys, Boomerang or Hammer for Ice Armos?
Hammer.
Hammer's scarier. It's a lot faster, though.
Is it?
I guess it depends on how many times you die.
Even without dying, Hammer Armors is the worst. It's by far the worst item for Ice Armors.
I'll just say, if you do the hammer fight, before you could ever finish the boomerang fight, one of the 2 sides will die. It might be you, but someone's gonna die before you could finish that boomerang fight.
You don't die with the boomerang. That's the thing.
Yeah, boomerang's totally safe. It just takes forever because it's 48 hits per.
Is there ever a situation where neither you nor your opponent die when you start a fight in this game?
Yeah, just turn on the cape, grab a wall, and hold the A button.
We don't have a cape.
Excellent point. And in fact, while we were cracking those jokes, Hulo here has found Eastern Palace, which I don't remember our other 2 runners saying.
Well, it's in the Thieves' Town entrance, so he's really been the only one to have an opportunity so far. I don't blame Hulo for going in here. This isn't a great place to return to. Immediately rewarded with the Fire Rod. And given that Hulo is heading north towards Skull Woods, that's a very timely Fire Rod.
Especially if you actually have to soft lock more or less in Skull Woods to actually get to the back of Skull Woods. But he will find a glove in Skull Woods so he can actually go back out safely. I think out of the 3 Wall Kicks might be in the worst spot because he hasn't found the hammer yet, and that's in an early-ish location that he might not come back to too soon. And Zen Palace paying off today. A sword and fire rod.
Yeah, from Wall Kick's perspective, like, he doesn't know it, but the best thing he could find would be the Hyrule Castle small key. Not because it would help him in any way at all, but just because it would point him back toward the items we know we can get.
And Freddy is probably catching up from here. On the left drop down will be the last one to get to Moon Pearl, but he already found the glove out of Skyward, so he needs to get to Seaston eventually to get his Eastern Palace with Fire Rod and a sword. He might not come back this soon.
With that mirror replacement, I think that was guaranteed. He was going to check this entrance now.
And the mushroom. Eastern Palace stacked today.
So where was the magic bat? Because we have all the ingredients for fake powder right here.
We must have seen it.
Could be here. It probably is here. Yeah, it is here. Julo is tapping for fake powder.
And yeah, this is one of those fortunate situations. Like, I know a lot of people don't like going out of their way to fake powder because the odds that it pays off are relatively low, but it's just so convenient in this seed for Hulo. You gotta do it.
Hyper Art for Fredde. And he's rewarded with a Tears Monkey.
That's a little bit of a moderate reward for your fake powder. Like, that's probably not a huge deal, but it can simplify your routing in TR a bit.
I don't think we've seen any Turtle Rock entrances at this point, so if there's any kind of weird stuff where you have to go from the middle of TR out the front in order to pick up progression, that could be a big deal. So Wallkicks is working on cashing in his Skull Woods Big and finding a single arrow. So very big find here. I think that's mega important.
What's interesting is that the sword and fire on Eastern Fen is completely unlocked for us. How's the track called again? Skywoods. We can fight the boss now.
We see Hulo prioritizing a lot of these North Dark World entrances over going into Skull. It makes sense given that he has to assume he might get stuck in the back of Skull, and we know he will. But it will slow down him finding the glove a bit.
The play that really makes me curious here, and maybe the glove holds him back from it a little bit, but Hulo has almost everything to go into ice now, or at least go through all of ice.
And that's a very nice find for Fredde. He will find he finds his Fluidite now. He may be following the connector to below Bumper Cave, which may or not leads him back to Seastone, which has fired out a sword.
And half magic behind Mimic Cave. That should be a fun
So it's
find.
extremely likely neither of the items on West Dark Death Mountain are required, but neither of these items that Fredde just found, I guess only one was on the dark side of the mountain, are required, but boy, they're both nice.
Yeah, he will. And he's following the connector now, probably to below Bumper Cave, and he can be the one to show us the one connector. His loading works out perfectly here. And then we might even see one runner go for GT at this point. We have Fire Lord, we have Somalia, we have found the GT small key. It's totally possible to go through the right side. And let's see what fortune teller we missed earlier.
Fredde often makes strong use of his connectors. There was actually an earlier race against another playing competitor, Dazed Cloud, where the difference between them was a minute, and that minute entirely came from using a better connector to get into Turtle Rock.
So a big thing I observe is that even though Hulo kind of nominally has the most stuff here, I don't believe, at least according to his personal tracker, he has the Ice Palace Big Key. Where was that located?
Oh, that was pretty.
That was in Seastone. Pretty sure.
Oh, so Hulo has actually not found his way to the top of the pyramid at all then. So the good news is when he finds Thievestown, he can full clear it in one trip instead of getting the front and leaving. His bad news is he might be tempted into Ice Palace without the Big Key, when we know the Big Key is extremely accessible.
Probably not, I would say. even if he goes there, you might not even be locked out. But like Ice Big Choice could have nothing, and without a key, you don't even want to go in there. You want at least one big key or a small key to make loading more easily for full clear.
I'm also very curious where the boots are at this point, because we know that there's a sword sitting on the torch in desert right now.
Yeah, but the boots may or may not be showing up at all, because we don't need them. They might not even be progression.
And we've already seen 2 of the boots entrances as connector exits, so if anything, I think the signs are pointing that the boots are not super significant this seed from a logical perspective, though everyone obviously would like to have another sword.
Are other 2 runners both stepping into Eastern Palace at basically the same time here, and should be catching up to the fire rod and the sword that Hulo found just a few moments ago?
Yeah, I do think that and Chulo are in a much better spot because of they have hammer. That is just really like, I don't know when Walker is gonna go back to Hyde Castle to catch hammer. Like, he doesn't have the incentive to go this soon, and he might miss that hammer for like another 20 to 30 minutes.
Big moment on Hulo's side. Back of Skull Woods was the chicken house. Unfortunately for Hulo, and very fortunately for other 2 runners, it's just a heart container.
Yeah, especially for War Kicks, because maybe he had a chance to go here before going into Skull Woods. Not so much of that, eh?
Yeah, but that's just a location. I don't foresee Wall Kicks or Freda checking that for a long time. And we just happen to know in our current situation that they're not going to be punished for that.
Like, we almost found all dungeons between our runners. The only thing we haven't seen yet is Swamp Palace with the dam and any TR instance. So, don't missing out on that much stuff.
I think we have seen Swamp Palace itself, just not the dam at this point.
I know we've seen the middle eye lasers entrance to TR. We haven't seen any other TR entrance though, and you usually really don't want to use that one.
I think that was somewhere in the Dark Red where Chulo got there pretty early through a bunny walk. Wait,
Chulo's found the potion shop here right under the floating island, so that mushroom turn-in could very quickly be used at some point.
Fortunately for Hulo, fortunately for all our runners actually, that's a very convenient place to return to given where Back of Old Man is. So you don't feel super punished for finding that with mushroom in your inventory.
Chulo deciding not to following Sewer Bunny here. Let's see what else is on his mind. Of course, the Darkest Mountain. He will get rewarded with Flute here, which puts him like completely into the race. He has all the items that all runners got, but at this point we probably have to see some dungeon diving. I expect Freda to go back to this town like now, or clearing Ice Palace. Like, he can clear dungeon, and he should clear dungeon at this point to get progression items and to actually get his crystal count up. Like 55 minutes without access still is a very long time.
We see Wall Kicks choosing to kill Mothula. I think this is a pretty safe play. Like, it's really unlikely this advances him, but there's very low cost to this move.
That's the first time I've ever heard someone say that, Fighter Sword Mothula was a relatively safe play.
I mean, it's not that bad. He has a Fire Rod. He'll be fine. He's a good player.
It's still not a good play.
He's an extremely good player, but with no hammer and only a few Fire Rod shots. This is going to be an impressive marathon to watch.
It's not a good choice in my opinion, not at all. It's not a logic. We haven't found a single Skyward Small Key outside of Skyward Woods. We only have that potion, so we don't actually have another way to refill our magic meter. If you go in here with a blue potion to actually use Fire Rod a lot, I like it more, but without any kind of hammer, Master Sword, magic refill, I hate going to Mozilla with Spider Sword. it is a hard fight.
He's good enough to make this work, but this is definitely. I mean,
I'm beginning to.
I mean,
I had unwavering confidence in him before the fight, but I'm beginning to lose it as I watch this fight. This fight is not going well.
Hey, plenty of people that are good enough for Fighter Sword Mafia still do not beat Fighter Sword Mafia. But we've got the win here.
Yeah. The other problem just is the fight is slow. It is required, it exists still, but the fight in itself is just super slow.
The
And
GT Big Key is a really interesting item to pull there. In all honesty, that's probably one of the best things he could have hoped to see, because it's really likely other runners are going to do full right side GT without that. If GT Big Chest is important, or just if they go back for it on a side trip, that could be a nice little time saver for wall kicks.
But until he does high roll, he has no access to the GT Big Chest. He can climb, but that's it.
Yeah, the only problem I see here is that basically the other two people have good access to modular, the fuck wall kicks. So they have a much easier fight. They both have hammer and both have half magic with fire out, so they are more inclined to do this fight before even attempting GT, I think.
Thieves Town, I want to say, was up on the upper level of Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, it's the castle left door, and we have multiple connectors leading to the top of the castle otherwise. It's easier to return to than it seems.
I can't recall which connector exactly it was they followed, but it must be one in Kakariko.
Yeah, I know the easy connector to get there is
Oh,
the
it was that
DMX
connector.
Cave, was the second connector up there, and it's just a very easy way back up.
And the other one was Desert Slide.
Was that the connector that drops you out in the on the side of the pyramid, and then you just mirror up from up at the top, or?
That's not the one I was thinking of, but in all honesty, that's a good choice too if you happen to be in the neighborhood of that connector.
I can't remember how to get to it. I really should have written this stuff down. But Wall Kicks is going into Hyrule Castle now, and we'll be catching up on a few things. Our other runners are about to high-five at the digging game.
Yeah, this is really the most important thing that Wall Kicks was missing. You might almost argue it's the only important thing he was missing. He's also missing the half magic, but he can live without that. It's a little harder to live without Cane and Hammer.
I mean, half magic is a flute away. He will get it sooner or later with hammer now. I would just say, like, almost all runners have basically all the same tracks and are in the 5 minutes of each other at this point. Basically, they did all the same stuff. But the first one to the Desert Pit is Big Key on Stumpy, which might or might not be important. It's dependent, after all.
We have seen both Desert's back entrance and multiple ways to get into Desert, so that big chest is available at this point. And we also saw on the digging game that I want to say about 20-25 digs in is 10 arrows, so Wall Kicks will save about 6 to 8 weeks if he decides to skip that checks.
And
I think Fred is our first one actually diving into Turtle Rock to learn what's in our Chomp Room and our Vanilla Big Key chest.
He could even go to the front. That's the one small key he has.
That might... How many small keys do our other runners have at this point for Turtle Rock?
We know one of them was at Fake Powder, and I think Hulo's the only one on our restream who did that.
Yeah.
I think with 2 small keys I'd feel good about this. With 1, I'd be a little scared.
I would not go to the front at all, honestly. It's not in logic without all the keys, and the last thing you want to do is have Laser Bridge and a Must Connect, which at this point it's very likely Laser Bridge is somewhere like Desert Right. And
we have
to find a Turtle Rock small key for go mode. That's a disaster scenario.
But we found all big three connectors at this point. We found all of them. We found Desert Side. At least Fred did. That was on this mountain.
I don't think we found a connector that when I say Desert Right, I mean the connector that is the Desert Right slot.
Yes, we found it already.
Down.
That was on this mountain.
Which
Yes.
cave was it then?
It was the old lady connector. And that
I
was the
don't think
top
we
of
found-
Lightbird this mountain.
The other one I'm thinking we haven't found is the vanilla laser bridge entrance.
Oh yeah, we found that one.
So Freddy going moment of truth here and deciding to go to the front of Turtle Rock. Meanwhile, Wallkicks is going to take his 4 bombs into Ganon's tower and see how much progress he can make.
I didn't understand why you should go into TR here. You have a clearable ice palace, which you could do. You have a clearable sea stone you could do. Why are you going out of logic now for 4 checks? Or why are you doing GT now?
One of those actually being a Turtle Rock Small, so that could bail out Freddy here, as far as Turtle Rock Smalls go.
I actually kind of like what Wallkicks did there, where he went to Stolfo's room and now he's going to do full ride. He has the GT big key here, so he's not going to orphan big chest. This is a lot of density Wallkicks is getting in a hurry.
Yeah, but why not do Clister dungeons? That's the thing I don't really understand. You have 2 potential Clister dungeons you could clear, full clear even. And you probably do GT basement at one point anyway, but you know you're going to do the other checks anyway.
Yeah, I think your main thinking here is, I mean, this is coming from the same person who also did Fighter Sword Mothula. Man, if you find another sword, Cold Stare gets so much safer.
Yeah, of course. He has not got the half magic yet, but he could just get another potion or find.
We also have not seen any entrances to the Mire area, so for all we know, there could be 4 or 5 entrances or more behind the front of Turtle Rock here.
Yeah, it's just TR was just at the end of without for, of course.
And unfortunately,
yeah, our boots are becoming less and less important by the moment. But you know, honestly, finding that would make me, if I were in Fred's shoes, feel a lot better about having made the play he made, because now you know beating Trinex wouldn't have necessarily let you clear those for free.
Yeah, that should just go to Ice at this point.
Yeah, there's very little. The only reason I could see for Freda not to go to Ice is if he goes to Thieves instead.
Yes. Basically.
So
He's
why-
actually routing toward Thieves if he takes the connector to top a castle from here.
He's gonna find his cape and another red potion here in Mini Mulborn.
Like, I just want to say, we could hit Gomo really quick here if, like, Seastone and Ice Palace have some good items in them. Some big keys.
We are an hour and 5 minutes into this race, and all 16 of our runners are still going.
I would not expect anyone to forfeit before there are 10 finishes. These runners have invested way too much time and effort to give up now.
It took 2 months of our lives just to get here, so might as well squeeze it for all it's worth, right?
Gotta say, so far GT has not done much for Wallkicks.
Yeah, another reason to skip GT here. We only have 1 key. Like, that probably is not expected to be anything here. And that is trying to get Hartwig Bill, so he's diving a dungeon, and it's probably Ice. And yeah, another reason to not go into GT, because we don't have a good weapon for Ice Armors.
Yeah, so we're getting Fighter Sword Ice Armors after Fighter Sword Mothula here.
Like, of course, you can do these bosses, but these bosses are slow. Like, he has no reason to put off Seastone, in my opinion. I mean, he won boots, but on the other side, didn't get Seastone Small and Big Key early for no reason.
So Freddy is starting to dive Ice Palace now. Julo is going to the Dark World Shopping Mall. It should be all 7 crystals in order to be able to win, but then it's fast Ganon. So if Ganon was not in his vanilla location, then we could just go straight to him and not have to go up Ganon's tower.
Though, of course, today he is in his vanilla location by sheer coincidence, so we'll be clearing GT anyway. And yeah, there was... The single best item I think Wallkicks pulled out of his Ganon's Tower trip was the out-of-logic Turtle Rock Small Key. That's not a great feeling.
Yeah, especially because that GT play was basically its lowest way to play GT. Will never... Like, now he's going to Ice. I guess he wanted anything for Ice. But...
I did not
Why did he not... Did he not refill his potion before going into Ice? I don't think he did.
I'm not sure if anybody but Julo has seen the potion shop at this point.
Yeah, Feder has seen it for sure. He was up there with Pearl.
Okay, my bad.
Speaking of Ice Palace, we've seen... Well, there's the Hera Small Key, but a little more importantly, probably, is the fact that we saw the Palace of Darkness Big Key in here. I don't think we've actually seen Pod, have we?
I have not.
No. But we also don't know if it's existed or not.
Yeah, but that's definitely one of those big keys you're happy to have, just because you know the odds that Pod is required are actually pretty high.
I did have only one race this tournament where it wasn't. Pod was actually in the Ganon's Tower location.
Speaking of Pod Small Keys, got a Pod Big Key. Completely missed it.
And if I remember that race correctly, Link's house had the Pod Big Key. Because Rando loves and hates all of us. Catfish
and
is a big
Catfish. That's maybe useful.
I mean, you're not going to be unhappy about Hera Big Key. Hera's super accessible. You don't have a hook shot. Even if you did, the big chest is a chest capable of having progression items.
Yeah, I think Tuno's next play is probably Hera at this point. That or Ice Palace. But he doesn't have the Big Key or a Small Key. So it's probably not Ice Palace.
I think.
Yeah, Hulo's situation of still not having seen Thieves Town is very interesting. Hulo, it does seem to be prioritizing a little more far-flung entrances than the others, and it honestly makes sense, because not knowing where Thieves Town is and not having the Ice Palace Big Key, it just makes a lot of the dungeon dives a lot less appealing for Hulo than for the others.
I think there's still a few entire dungeons he hasn't seen at this point, so it does make sense.
At least if he did Ice Palace, he only loses the Pod Small Key, which might be important, but probably isn't. So even if he goes to Ice now, it's not that bad.
And we know
let's
Ice
see
is a
one
crystal.
Coaster fight.
Yeah, no disagreements with Freda, just drop Bombos, pull out the Fire Rod, and spam the Y button until you win.
Yeah, pushing him to left here kinda seems not important, but you actually get a lot more double and triple hits in if it's on the left. For whatever reason, the splash damage just works out better. And that's only a compass of Seastown. Maybe that reminds him of actually getting back to Seastown.
I think that's the first time in this tournament I've seen someone push Cold Steer left instead of right.
If you're using Fire Rod, pushing him to the left is a lot safer to get some double hits in. But yeah, we saw a really quick fight of Colts there on the other side, and Wallkicks decides to go in again with not enough magic. I have a feeling that Wallkicks is a little bit tilting here, and that's not a good sign.
Wallkicks doesn't have Bombos, that's right.
Yeah, and on Freda's side, we see an immediate play for Hera Basement. I don't hate this decision. You just got the Hera Small Key. Hera's super accessible. given that you're playing safe in a race like this, you know, only trying to get top 10, Hera basement, yeah, go do it.
If it's something, you probably win. If it's nothing, you lost a minute.
Where did Julo find Hera big? I forgot that already.
On Catfish.
That's right. Yeah, and Catfish is definitely going to be one of those much later plays that these runners go for.
And
Hulo's back in Eastern Dark World. He very well may be working his way toward top of Castle, which will lead him into Thieves Town. And we know that's probably going to be well, it's a nice play anyway because it gets the Ice Big Key, but it could be even more important.
That's a useless item, probably in Hera basement.
We still don't know what the Meyer medallion is yet, and at this point, it's very unlikely a connector leads to the Meyer region. I suspect mitts are how you get in there.
But yeah, this is, I think, out of these three runners, Crosskeys is the most likely of them to drop out. Like, a double dip of ice cost a lot of time. The cheaty basement clear, which had nothing, was pretty costly as well.
Wallkicks might have gotten the most checks in at this point, but it definitely feels like he's invested time in a few different places now.
Yeah, he's probably checked the most densest areas of all. But Chulo did a lot of stuff already.
Yeah, and Hulo's just about to find Thieves Town, and he'll be able to fully clear Thieves in one trip, so that's going to be a pretty significant time saving for him.
Yeah. And Maya is our second pendant. While Seastone isn't. So Seastone is a safe play. And now we see why you should refill your potion before coming into ice. Because Chulo, has he blue mail or green mail? I think he has only green mail. No, he has blue mail. But the fight is still hard. Like, that is fight took, I would guess, 20 seconds, and this, like, probably takes a minute compared to Satisfied.
I've been watching.
In all honesty, I kind of hate this fight Wallkicks is looking at a lot more than I hate either Fighter Sword Moth or Fighter Sword Ice Armos. This is just a rough fight, because the only ways to do it fast are very, very unsafe, and a death here is just a catastrophe scenario, so you can't risk it. That was a relatively good hammer fight, but it still was more than double the time that Freda took.
And if you now add the time that it took to get back here, it was about like 3 or 4 minutes he just lost in ice.
I just realized 75 minutes in that Wallkicks and Julo are using the same sprite, so don't ever feel like you have to be super smart to be a commentator. You can have a lot of good time anyway. So Freda is making his trip to the back of the desert for Landmos now, and meanwhile Julo is just getting into the second half of Thieves Town.
I gotta say, from Freda's perspective, it's an interesting decision to fight Green Pendant Landmalus before going back to Thieves Town, which he doesn't know whether Thieves is Pendant or Crystal, but well, you figure it's a Crystal until you know otherwise, right?
Probably, yeah. Could just be deciding, hey, this is 2 items, so why not give it a try? But you're right, it is an interesting decision. One of those items, unfortunately, just being a giant chunk of change. And I'm pretty sure all 3 of our runners have seen Sasha at this point, so it should be real quick in order to go back and find that one.
Oh, there's a spicy Castle Tower small key. You're always interested in finding those, right?
Those are going to be required here if Ganon is... Actually, no, they're not. Sorry. One of them gets you the second item, but the second one won't have any value because Uncle was behind Lumberjacks. And we have access to Eastern Dark World already.
Yeah, though, I'm always, just as a player at least, extra interested in the Thieves Town big chest when I have the tools to get it. Because I know it's so easy in this randomizer to end up orphaning it. It's a little less likely in this seed in particular, but it's something you're always thinking about.
Freddy's just now finding his chicken heart, and Wallkicks is checking out the shopping malls. Julo almost forgets to do the big chest in Thieves, and then gets 3 bombs for his trouble.
Hey, that big chest had something that was really important for Hulo. He got knowledge of where a progression item isn't.
Yeah, but that knowledge is basically useless. But I may have looked into other of these things, and I think I know which item we will find next on the boss, even though I have not seen the item drop from the boss. It probably is an important item that we will see soon that other runners that did season earlier already have.
Yeah, that is an important thing to keep in mind, that we're only seeing these 3 runners, but you have to remember it's a 16-person race. Probably a lot of runners who aren't on our restream have already killed blind.
Oh, it's only a small key? I was honestly expecting another item.
Yeah,
so that's actually really interesting. With that small key to pod there, we have a lot of the pieces of the puzzle for pod, but we don't have pod itself. Is there just some random entrance we haven't been in that is pod, and that's just what these runners need to do?
Maybe. It could also be the mushroom that we have for a very long time now. Oh, but it also could be a required double dip of GT climb, or a hookshot in GT climb. But we haven't seen the other 2 Skyward Sword, as Morky said, so GT climb is not yet a notch.
We also don't have a bow, which is definitely important for GT climb being logical.
Yes, I may have forgotten about that one.
I have forgotten about that too, so...
But Chulo gives us a new check with the Surface Big Chest, which has...
So we're still missing bow, we're still missing hookshot, we're still missing ice rod if Trinex is going to be required.
So that brewery that Freda left behind earlier was the Swamp Palace big key. Not the world's most exciting big key, but now we have it on Wallkick's side.
Yeah, the thing is about that spot, he can flute back there anytime he wants to.
Yeah, the Swamp Palace big key is important to me just because it makes any other big key I found much more obviously exciting.
So another play we have is we've seen Spike Cave, and we have a glove, a hammer, a cape. Half magic. It's in logic.
Bunch of another interesting items are coming up on Chulo's side here. He's the only one on our Least team who has found the Tower of Heather big key. And so he can clear another dungeon out, which is actually our second deck sister, which we know has nothing, and it was only a connector, but I don't know if Chulo knows. I don't think he does.
Wallkicks went down right side when he went through GT, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we're getting
that might do the same, but also might not.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting that play, or at least some of that play from Freddy now.
Oh, wow, the Turtle Rock big key. That's a weighty big key right there. I don't think we have enough Turtle Rock small keys in logic to go to Laser Bridge, but like, man, you just gotta be thinking about it. Laser Bridge is one of the biggest concentrations of items left in the world we don't have.
Also, then we need 3 TR small keys for at least Zelda and Juno. And we only found 2 total. No, we found 3 total. Juno hasn't gotten the one in GT left side, and Zelda is missing the one on GT left side as well, and the one on also called Magic Bet, which Julo fake powdered earlier.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing I'd be thinking about, though. The one on left side GT is logically behind Hookshot. Magic Bat's logically behind Powder. I think we only have one logical TR small key. Well, those are the mids. That's probably the item we're really supposed to find. That's going to open the Mire region.
That's gonna open a lot. That will
That's stunning.
I will just say this will item will put us close to go mode.
Yeah, I think it's really clear among the three runners we're looking at here, Hulo is definitely in the lead, but it's very hard to say how he's doing compared to the 13 racers we cannot see right now.
Yeah, all we know for the other 13 racers is that none of them have finished up to this point.
Like,
I will also give Hulo a little bit of props going for Ice Palace here. Even though we know that he's not going to find a lot here, and there's a lot of potential value behind the mitts. From his perspective, it's a crystal dungeon he can full clear. Why not knock it out before you go exploring? Something in here could help with what you find next.
Yeah. And as expected, GT has no progression at this point because it is locked by so many items. We only have one GT small key and the back is locked at least by 3. So not expected that is our logical progression, and indeed it isn't. It is Catfish. I think Zelda hasn't been to the dark shopping mall area at all, so he might be more inclined to go there soon. But getting back there, not easy.
And Wall Kicks, I think, is about to be very surprised when he discovers that there's not really too much of interest in Thieves Town.
Yeah, he basically left Catfish alone for a very long time, and without the hookshot, he probably never finds mids. And if he finds mids before if he finds hookshot before mids, it's honestly even not that good. Because TRP key might or might not be required.
So between all our runners, what are we looking for go mode? We definitely need a bow. We maybe have some entrances left to find. We might need an ice rod. We might need a hook shot. Is that it?
I think we're definitely going to need a hook shot unless these guys are going to hover or bounce their way off of Moldorm. Because I think GT climb is required.
Yeah, that is true.
At this point, I just hope Swampus exists. I don't want to come down in a plane race to hover or not, or bounce or not. And we also need another sword. That's also completed too.
We
need the Swamp small key as well if we're going to do Swamp. So Swamp is by far the most gated remaining dungeon.
I'm sure Hook's shot is on the Swamp first chest at this point. It's just got to be one of those days.
Fred is about to fake powder here, get his Turtle Rock small key. We know this might actually be a pretty good find given where Laser Bridge is. Well, where it isn't, which is anywhere accessible right now.
Having just a little bit of difficulty with the fake powder trick.
Yeah, this is a weirdly easy trick in a way, but I think it's actually frame perfect. It's just frame perfect with infinite pause buffer.
It's not frame perfect. It's not at all frame perfect. You have like 20 frames to hit the start button. It's really free. But yeah, he has to get to Dark Shopping Mall and Catfish if he wants to get progression. And he hasn't that much left besides Seastone, so he might go to Seastone now. Get a good chunk of items. But yeah, that mid's looking pretty suspicious.
Yeah, and Hulo's just about to wrap up Ice Palace, so I expect Hulo to chase the mitts pretty aggressively after killing Cold Stare.
Yeah, our other two runners won't be able to find mitts until they decide to make the play into Hera, and that was behind Catfish, right?
Yes. I think Walkie's on his way to Catfish.
And Freddy might be with a little bit more checks first, because it looks like he's checking the pod entrance first. So they're both in the general vicinity of heading to Catfish now.
Yeah, Fred is probably gonna do Sea Stone first before heading to Catfish, which is not bad.
I also am just going to say in general, we're nearing 140, which, for me at least, in a 16-person Crosskeys race where everyone is a very strong player, which with everyone at 6-2, that's the situation we're at, this is when you think someone who God routed might got done. So it's definitely something we're going to want to keep an eye out for.
Oh, and there's Hype Cave and Ice Banners with 5 items, one of them being a shield. The other 4 are a bow, that is required, a Master Sword, that is somewhat required, a Skyward Small Key, and some bombs. Good Hype Cave.
Yeah, and that's a huge reward for checking the Ice Palace entrance before going to the Maya region. I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't have done this. I would have found Pod probably in the Maya region, cleared it out, then found this bow, then been unhappy.
I would have also
There's
forgotten
the
about
other
this.
castle. There's the other castle tower Small Key behind the Impendant, so the Impendant itself was completely useless.
Well, perhaps. We don't know what the second item in Naga Tower is yet.
Yeah, but the other runners also found a castle tower Small Key in Sea Stone already, so...
Another big little piece of info we just got on Hulo's side. Meyer Medallion is Bombos, so that Quake from Hera Basement is of no relevance whatsoever.
Yeah, there done a lot of off checks that did not pay off at all. So he is probably, at this point, even behind War Kicks. He has to do Sea Stone and walk into Catfish before he comes back to Hera again. So he's probably like 5 minutes behind War Kicks at this point. If War Kicks never goes for these objects.
Yeah, in all honesty, Wall Kicks isn't very far behind Hulo. He's about to get his mitts. He's already done Ice Palace. It's not going to be that big of an issue for him to just make his way to the Maya region and get to work. Though, with 4 small keys, which is in theory all you need for Pod, Hulo has walked into Pod. Now, what do you do about Pod if you walk in with 4 small keys? Do you just skip the vanilla big key chest? That's probably the safest play, right?
It's not... It's the safest play and by far the best play. Like, walking 3 times to the right side is taking you 2 extra minutes to get 1 check, which you can do later in 30 seconds. Or you can fast find a small key in the dungeon to do the check. Like, there's no reason whatsoever to not do... to not open the front door here.
Though, I mean, I personally probably would have done right side in the boss first and just seen where I'm at before deciding whether to go back, but that's about the only difference.
I mean, if he's planning on clearing this all in one shot, this probably makes sense. So, he'll... Oh, hi. What are those?
Those are...
That is a tempered sword in that chest, just indirectly.
Yes, it is.
That also enables hovering. So we either need Ice Sword or Hookshot, bump in a small key, and for sure these are fast big.
So
man, Hulo does not feel like doing the hammer jump today. He just opened the Dark Maze door and got an Ice Rod in the Dark Maze.
He actually cannot do the bomb jump, as far as I know.
I actually bought a bigger TV just so I'd be able to do hammer jump during races, so I can respect that. And finding silvers in there for his trouble, so deciding to, I'm assuming, abandon both the vanilla Big Key and the harmless Hellway, and now just go straight for Helmasaur.
I mean, it would be foolish, to put it lightly, to prioritize single chest over a boss that is so likely to be a crystal.
Just hope it's a pendant so that Swamp Penis is successful. I don't want that seed to be a Hava seed.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Julo's tracker right now. We know that Moth was a crystal, so... Actually, yeah, either Swamp or Helmasaur has to be our third pendant.
Oh, Wall Kick's returning the Super Bomb. He's not gonna like what he finds here.
Okay, okay, Vox is clearly trying to catch up at some point, because doing that bomb before you can do the entirety of my area.
But this
looks like a desperate play.
Rush the Smith in the purple chest.
This is just a connector, though. We've seen this connector from another runner, so I'm surprised he doesn't know this is nothing.
I mean, he probably hasn't taken every connector. I certainly am not surprised that Wallkicks doesn't know what any other runners found.
Well, yeah, obviously, that makes sense.
It's still not a good play to hunt this one instance down when you have 7 in the my area. Like, you only do this if you feel behind.
And if you want to chase items that other people wouldn't go for early, you have Smith Chain, and that's also, I think, a stronger play than this.
So is this more of a, I lost a few minutes in Ice Palace, so let me do something desperate?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, we only need, like, maybe find one instance at this point, which is Pod. Because he can.
And we also have to find the dam, but, well, the dam or Pod, actually. You don't necessarily need both, I guess.
Let's see what Pod drops here. Wait, he just attacks stuff again. Oh! Like, Pod is loaded. And Pendant!
It's a pendant!
No hover suit! Yes!
Yeah, hovering is the worst. I don't actually disagree with you at all on that, but regardless, do any of our individual runners have full pendant crystal knowledge at this point? I know we do as viewers.
Chulo does.
Julo's the only one that does now, because he knows that Desert, he knows that he's seen the Mire pendant from the map, and he just got Helmasaur's pendant, so...
Of course, those boots, one of the things you are thinking about when you find them is this pointing me to go into Mire? Because it's now a play he can make. Obviously, you're going to check all of your easier entrances first, but it's going to be in the back of your mind.
That's right. We do have access to go inside and start clearing out Mire now.
There's probably a Pod small key on Juno's side right now coming up. Oh, that's Skywood small key. Interesting.
Yeah, one of the entrances to Desert is just right off of this on the Light World side. So he can go back and get his tempered real quick.
Like, there's a Swamp Palace small key for Juno. That's one less item for Go Mode. Okay. What are the odds that Hookshot actually ends up being on top of GT at this point? And there's the dam! Okay, we need to find Swamp Palace next! Guys, there's Swamp Palace as well here. I know it.
I thought we've seen Swamp Palace somewhere before already.
Oh, we've seen Swamp?
Yeah, I want to say at least one of the red runners found the swamp entrance pretty early.
I'm definitely rooting for some player to go into Swamp and clear as much as they can when the hook shot's at the drain dam and you just forget to look.
I cannot the call seeing swamp pandas, but I
Yes,
can mess up.
This is going to be the play for Tempered right here. And then after that, yeah, a quick flute to 7 would show you what's in the dam.
Yeah, you can also dip swamp pandas now if you know what it is, but Juno could go ahead and clear GT. Still only has 1 key, I guess. So it's still not a good... GT is still not a good play with 1 key.
We have the Mired Big, we have the Lamp, we have Hang.
This is where you might almost have a pseudo hover seed, because you know you have to climb GT eventually. If you can hover, it's a no downside play. If you can't hover, then you're putting it off. So if the next thing you have to do is up GT, anyone who can hover still has a huge advantage because they can make the play with confidence.
Yes. That's the pot small key for sure. Oh, no, it's a Maya small key. Game's moving me along. I suspect a hookshot in Maya, and I suspect Juno going there soon after finishing Skavutz here. But yeah, Flatter, the last one to mid-tier or top feather big key. Juno only missed out on a bottle in the Harmless Hellway, so he hasn't to go back for that chest. But the
yeah, that's
chest
doubly
is
good, because if he goes back with just 1 small key, he almost assuredly checks vanilla big key and not that chest.
Freddy is picking up Catfish. Julo is going for a much easier Mothula fight. And Walkix is about to pick up his Ice Rod. So all 3 of our runners are definitely making some progress.
I'd also point out what were silvers for Julo, and we're just kind of nice, was a bow in the first place for Walkix and allows him to complete this dungeon at all.
Wow,
Obvious.
I missed that. That's very timely.
I kinda wonder why he went for the right side first instead of checking the back, but can't do that. Juno can confidently go through the left side here with only boots, but chooses to go to the right side first. And probably gonna bomb jump the left side. It gives you checks, at least one of them is important probably for the tier small key that he needs to find, and he can check all the other stuff which is locked behind hookshot, but could tell him more about hookshot logic.
I mean, what Hulo's probably doing here, he's probably going to do Compass Room, get the small key, and then mirror, and then do full right side or full left side. Just clear out all of GT basement right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So without a hookshot, how much of this is actually in logic?
All the stuff on the right is in logic except for the keys, which we have found very few GT small keys.
At this point, GT has for Julo 1 logical check, but did he do Taizoom? He did earlier, I think. I don't like going here to the right side. You're wasting a key, and you can't just do left side even. You either don't go through the right side here, or I don't like going. So here, you either do left side or leave.
Justification I can really see for this is Hulo thinks his go mode is going to be hookshot, but I don't think Hulo has enough information to say that with confidence yet.
At this point, he might also be stupid big key, a stupid small key from go mode, which is behind hookshot. Like even a small key on the left side could give you some information, but not any.
Maybe he thought he is not or doesn't have enough small keys to get all the way through left side?
I just said he doesn't have enough information to conclude that. I guess we need the Eastern big key. That's the big mystery, isn't it?
Yeah, and now he basically locked himself out for doing left side. for a bunch of longer time until he finds some GT small keys.
Hulo here will definitely have the fastest Ice Armos out of the three of them with silvers instead of Fighter Sword.
Julo's next play has to be a dungeon, which is Maya or Swamp Palace.
He should be good for either dungeon now that he has the Mirror Shield.
Oh, that's a point I don't know.
Freda at least getting the little upside on routing of doing the Ice Palace entrance before going to the Mire region, so he's going to have this bow and this sword before he has to fool with any of that. But yeah, personally, if I were in Hulo's shoes, I would be on my way to Misery Mire at maximum speed.
Watch this be the hook shot, though.
No, I'll put Smarky. Yes! Finally!
You know, mathematically, it was more likely to be a GT small than a pod small, I think.
Yeah, but Pod Smarky gives us a bow, of ice slot, a bottle, there's so much item.
Yeah, but we still need the last pod small key to get any of that stuff.
Okay, Julo also about to get the better information about Spectaclock lower.
Again, I'm gonna chime in on the why are people rushing this. Why do this before Smith Chain and Hammer Bags?
I don't know. Yeah, but that's
maybe it's just easy at this point to forget that you've got, you know, the Smith Chain to go through, because since we got those myths, we have done, I think, a couple more dungeons.
Hey, we found TR again.
Honestly, that's a pretty nice TR entrance right there. You get the big chest, it's only red mail, but it's off the list. You can go straight down to Laser Bridge. Definitely, Laser Bridge would be an area high on my mind for any of these players.
Yeah, Wall Kicks has done nothing in Turtle Rock up to this point, while both Freddy and Julo went through and cleared up through the front.
Wall Kicks is actually, he's beelining straight for Trinex. He can finish this dungeon right here, right now.
And get some Zero up to the front, so he don't have to spend another small key, so that perfectly works out for him.
The only real decision is, do you walk out of Laser Bridge and see where that connector goes? It doesn't feel like it could be anywhere important, and you could get stuck at GT, so I think you probably shouldn't.
Is GT the only place left where they can get stuck?
Yes. And also, they probably only have the vanilla exit left. And there's a required big key. We are a hookshot away from go mode.
That could be a big deal, because if Hookshot's in Eastern, that is going to keep Wall Kicks completely out of Mire. Though it looks like Hulo's making the same play, so he's going to be able to avoid a lot of the same traps.
Is he?
Meanwhile, Freddy's going for the vanilla.
He was, and then he changed his mind. I don't understand. I'm confused.
He doesn't have enough Smarkies right now to kill the boss. From his perspective. Because he already used one to go to the front. He's missing one more Smarky to actually kill the boss.
And yes, the Laser Bridge had the Eastern Palace big.
Yeah, not going to left side GT here really could burn him. That was the other TR Smarky location. But it also means that the Eastern Palace big key is not that in logic, not at all. We still need powder and or hookshot to actually get to Laser Bridge.
Yeah, but if it's just something like Powder and Meyer and that's the whole sequence, man, it's a big deal to just be able to skip that.
But that's just one small key. Like, I think we find hookshot for TR small key to get to Isabel's big key. So I wouldn't be surprised if hookshot ends up being in Maya. Also because hookshot is locked behind boots and Maya is pretty funny.
This is definitely a big moment in the race, because it feels like if Meyer's a waste of time and just rushing the crystals that Wall Kicks can rush is important, Wall Kicks is going to finish very well in this race, whereas if Meyer is the answer, Hulo has a near straight shot here.
Maya is the answer! We are
there's the
in
hook shot.
go mode. We are in no mode.
Yeah, so from what we know, all Hulo has to do to finish this seed is go pick up that Turtle Rock small key from Stolfos' room, go get the Eastern big key from Laser Bridge, and beat crystals.
And we need to go into Swamp Palace at some point. Where the heck is... Ah! There is Swamp Palace!
I knew I
So
saw
kind of the
green.
bad news here is Hulo almost definitely full clear Swamp here, looking for a Turtle Rock small key.
He's not
Now,
going for
there's
left
one
side.
we don't know where it is. It could be in here. But it just makes sense to look for a Turtle Rock small key in Swamp while you're just going through it.
Yeah, if you find...
And of
TR
course
small
the
key.
Eastern big key, which we know it's on his way on Laser Bridge, but from his perspective, the most likely place for it to be is in Swamp.
He also needs a cheaty small key. Nah, he doesn't need a cheaty small key. He can just pick up one from the pot. I don't think he is going... Oh, take items. Don't think he is going for the back. For left side here. It would make no sense from his perspective.
I think I'd be hard pressed to skip left side in his situation. I could see doing it, but like, man, Eastern big key is. I mean, are you willing to gamble a race you only have to finish in the top 10N on it not being on left side?
It's 150, like, we might see a finish soon-ish.
Yeah, the fact
And
that no one's finished yet, that has to give you a little bit of pause that you're 2 hours in a 16-person race and there's no finishes yet.
Oh, and there's a cheaty small key for Juno. Not the one he wanted to find. The good thing for Juno, and that's the powder. The good thing for Juno is if he wants to hunt down a TR small key in one location, then it's GT. And that's really quick for him.
In all honesty, that powder is probably going to be a really good find. Because he's just check Magic Bat, he has a TR small key, go take care of Turtle Rock, he gets the Eastern big key, and the seed just yields for Hulo right there.
The only problem is he cannot finish TR. Right now. He can only access Laser Bridge with this 2 small
Well, yeah,
keys.
that's what I'm saying. If he checks Magic Bat, which is a single check that you're really tempted into with the powder, it probably baits him into it, right?
Yes. I think he's gonna full clear GT looking for Isabel's big key. He might go for the Randomizer room as well after he finds the TR small key. And he might find Eastern big key before going to GT left side again? I don't know. But if he would have had a TR small key, he would basically be in go mode. This way, it's not so sure how fast he actually hits go mode. There's another small key, but it's not the right one.
We can also point out that at this point in the race, approaching the 2-hour mark, we do not have any finishers out of our 16 runners.
Yeah, and I guess we all need to be careful because we're watching the race from 10 minutes ahead of the stream delay, but yeah, it's no one's finding a fast path through the seed, and important to keep in mind. All these racers honestly probably still feel pretty good about their chances, knowing that no one's done yet.
But if one finishes, there will be many finishers. And that takes care of another dungeon. And is only... Wait. Only hookshot from go mode after this one. And Chulo going for objects here. I don't know what he needs, what he decides to find here. Like
if he walks into the laser bridge entrance, that solves things for him right there.
Yeah, but he almost has. He can almost be sure that he cannot find laser bridge entrance, and he has to clear GT. So why not clear GT now? Like he has to clear GT, and if any small key on top is a tier small key, he can, or Etherpade's big key, he can clear another dungeon.
Yeah, maybe he's holding out hope he can beat GT and jump straight into the Ganon fight, but
I think now he's going for GT, which is the most reasonable play here. While Walkies is showing us left side swarm play. I wonder why Walkies didn't grab his Master Sword at this time.
Oh look, the last pod small key, just what we wanted. An Ether, all the good stuff.
That's the Eastern Penance big key for
Friday.
Zelda, which only is now hookshot from go mode. And his best options are Swamp or Maya, so he's gonna finish here pretty soon. Or being go mode. And Chulo goes for left side first, which actually puts him in go mode. Or gets him close to go mode. But he is going for the randomizer zoom here. That's time he could have avoided.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting decision after finding that small key. This is a pretty accessible GT. You could totally argue after getting these 4 checks, just mirror and climb. But it would also be a pretty easy call to do all of it as well. Hey, we found our last sword on left side swamp.
That's good for how's it called? Walkix. But needs to go into Maya to get his hookshot for go mode. And he's not walking to his hookshot right now. He's probably gonna do how's it called? Dismiss chain first. Yeah,
and we see on the other side that Hulo is gonna actually commit to all of GT. It's the safest play.
Yeah, it's the play I would make as well in his position, but I would have done this earlier.
This is a play I probably would not make in his position in a one-on-one race, but in this race, when you're only playing for top 10 and no one's finished, yeah, I would do this in this situation for sure.
Yeah, at this point, Chulo has to climb GT, he has to go through TR, and he's in go mode. Like, that's at most 15 minutes, I would guess.
I can guarantee we will not find what is on the tablets in this seed.
Not for Juno. And not for any other runner here. Oh yeah, they're going for Eastern Penance.
Yeah, from Wallkick's perspective, clearing Eastern is a basically cost-free play. We know it's not going to advance him, but he needs the crystal. He has the big key. Why not?
Yeah, what also could be bad for Wallkicks, he might be the seed Masters or Silverlist if he goes into Maya before checking Ice Spinners. I mean, he gets his Temper Sword at some point. So he will not finish the seed with Master Sword at least.
No, we're pretty sure with where Ganon should be that the GT climb is required. It's just a question of when do our runners do it as opposed to the other checks and the other pieces they need to do. So there shouldn't be any actual pain for Julo as far as going up the GT climb. Now the rando room I want to say didn't have anything of value at all in it.
Yeah, but I think Julo has to be Nickly here. I don't think he will drop out of this tournament from his position. He gonna beat Zelda and Warkicks 100%, and he will beat it with this loud, and nobody is finished yet. At least other 6 runners. I would really be surprised if Judo does not make it here. Like, he is basically in go mode if he goes for Existed Dungeon.
Yeah, so far we still have not seen Ganon, which should imply that Ganon is on the or in the pyramid.
Ganon is on Pyramid.
I honestly think all 3 runners at this point have a pretty good path to go mode, because in all of their perspectives, Myers the densest place remaining. Well, for Wallkicks and Freda, it's the densest place remaining, whereas obviously Hulo's path forward is just clearing crystal dungeons.
Yeah, Hulo still has to do Turtle Rock and Eastern at this point, so...
Yeah, Judo has to be done here. Like, Judo, I cannot see him losing it from his position. Like, he is basically in go mode. But it's gonna be a tough race between at least Warkicks and Fede, which both are basically neck and neck, and both only have to dip Maya to be in go mode with the hookshot. At least they know they need hookshot. Hopefully none of them climbs before heading into Maya. Maya's not that hard to reach.
Hey, we found what I think's the last GT small key. It was just in Spike Cave all along.
Yeah, Zelda is probably doing this mission here. And maybe heads to Maya after. I don't think it's gonna do... Oh, he might go directly into... Oh no, he hasn't done... No, he has... What is he going for? Oh, the second chest of Aga Tower.
Yeah, we know the Aga climb is useless, but none of our runners have seen the second chest in Aga at this point.
Yeah, that we know, like, the best thing that could be in there is the last Turtle Rock small keys, so this isn't gonna do too much for Freda here.
Freda also, I think Freda has TS, Freda has enough TS small keys for it. That's the proceed, just has to go to Maya, which Warkicks is currently heading to. Like, he needs to do that. But he's probably doing this mission first, I would guess. How many people are advancing to the Black Stage again?
There are 10 out of the 16 people racing are going to advance. So you need to avoid being in the bottom 6 is really the big thing here.
You need to be single digit or being the 10, basically.
Yeah, and at this point, from our perspective, there's not really a lot of intrigue. Like, we know where they need to go. Wallkicks and Freda need to get to Meyer as soon as possible. Wallkicks can benefit a little from going to the ice entrance just because, you know, it'll load them up with silvers and tempered. Whereas Hulo just needs to go take care of business in TR.
So, and just for anybody who's joining in late, this is actually a 16-person play-in race, of which we have 3 of the participants here joining us for the stream. So the top 10 out of the 16 will move on to the bracket stage, and the last 6 have still put on a wonderful show for us.
Yeah, and Wallkicks is just beelining the hook shot. Wallkicks, honestly, he's probably set himself up for Master Sword Silverless, but should be in go mode very shortly.
He knows about the sword in Desert Palace. He should know about the sword in Desert Palace.
If he doesn't go get it and he just does Master Sword Silverless, Wallkicks will get like the reward for the most difficult boss fights this seed, which I hear automatically removes 5 minutes from your finish time, right?
Yes. I still don't know why I didn't grab the Desert Palace big. Like, we found one sword in Port, we found one in Ice Palace. He found one sword in left side swamp. He hasn't got the sword out of Desert Palace. And I wonder why.
Yeah, Hulo also just got his Eastern Big Key. Hulo's in go mode, and it's a very quick go mode. He has to kill Trinex, kill Armos, finish the seed.
Oh, and that is probably the prof that he's gonna dip Swamp Palace before Maya.
Yeah, it's guaranteed at a minimum. Fred is going to finish the last of the 3 we're looking at. It'll remain to be seen how he does relative to the runners who are not on stream.
Yeah, I think if he would have gone for Maya directly, I think he had a decent chance making it to the brackets, but with Swamp Palace here, that might not cut it. Right, that's what Swamp is a huge time investment right now.
Yeah, because given that we know no one has finished yet, I wouldn't feel bad at all about Wall Kick's position. I am very worried for Fredhead. Like, he's basically set himself up to full clear the seed by choosing to do this, and that's just a hard way to win.
He's gonna need a few other runners to make similar or the same decisions in order to increase his chances.
Okay. Juno only has to clear Eastern Palace here. Get to Ganon. That should be enough to make seconds.
In all honesty, Hulo has to feel pretty good about the overall time he's going to get in this seed, because I don't know why he's opening the big chest, maybe just for giggles, but he's got to be looking at, like, you know, a 207, 208, and that's a pretty good Crosskeys run in general, especially when the seed isn't super free, and this one really wasn't.
Yeah, if he loses this race by like 10 seconds, we can point him out that he lost the first place by doing Eastern Palace big chest.
My best finish throughout the tournament was a 241, so this is half an hour faster than that. It's really an impressive run by all 3 of our runners, but you know, especially if we're looking at finishing the entire thing just over 2 hours. That's hard to do in Crosskeys.
Yeah, we all know that Chulu lost to Fluff. He wants to brag about his collection rate. Always. But yeah, that's also only go mode for War Kicks. He only has to go to beat the climb and then be done with the seed.
It is a real convenience being able to do GT last, because you can just jump straight into Ganon from there.
Yeah, I believe Hook Shot was in the Compass chest for Meyer.
Yes, a Compass chest, left side, fire locked. And you basically had to decide between, or Fred had to decide between Swamp Palace or Maya, and decided wrong. And cleared Swamp, and completely cleared Swamp Palace. And I forgot to check his item once more. He found powder somewhere. That's cleared pod? He did not even clear pod.
Kind of funny little thing is, in a way you could say both Hulo and Wall Kicks are walking to the same place, just Wall Kicks is going via a different route.
Yeah, and this route what that Wall Kicks are now taking is of course a lot slower, but he also has to take this out. He's forced to do a GT climb because he hasn't done it yet. But Chulo just has to go climb Pyramid once more and has to kill off Gwenin, while nobody's done in this race yet. So if it's up here when nobody's done, you feel pretty safe.
Yeah, you never know though. Hulo could get sniped by 10 off-stream runners just right away.
In Crosskeys, all in 1 minute, seems pretty likely. Also Fredden now in go mode. But that 2 to 4 minute investment in Swarm really did not benefit him.
Yeah, at this point, Fredda will need to kill Argus and then do his GT climb, and then he'll be going into the Ganon fight.
Wait, how many days? 10. That means 6 already qualified. So only the top 2 runners are guaranteed to face against another 6 2-runner, which might be good, it might be bad, I don't know. But Chulo is the first one. Probably to pass to go through the finish door, but right now, that was the first finish of the game, and Chulo finishes at exactly 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 30 seconds in 2nd place.
Yeah. So, really, the thing we gotta think about, like, Hulo's just thinking, man, 2nd place is pretty good. I'm making bracket. Well, we're just thinking, dude, think about that Eastern Palace big chest. You could have gotten 1st.
Not that it matters at all, but could have gotten 1st. Hopefully we get him to an interview.
Yeah, actually, do we need to ask him about that, or does somebody else? Or I don't know.
I'm gonna ask him.
Okay.
He should be in the waiting room in a few seconds, but he will join. That's for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Wall Kicks is very close to finished as well. Just has to fight Aga 2 and Ganon. Imagine that being your ending sequence in a Link to the Past randomizer.
Yeah, and at this point, exactly, let me look. 3 pupils are done, Lin, Chulo, and Data. So you're getting closer and closer to Ganon, and more people are finishing.
I'm not sure on the chat. Oh, there it is. It just popped up. Lin is our 3rd place finisher at 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 36 seconds.
I actually see Chulo up there in the waiting room.
This is kind of the part where you expect finishes to just start streaming in really quickly.
I honestly expect more runners to have a finish time around 2:10 than they are finishing. Like I expect that this cut-off line would be around the 2:10 mark at War Kicks, but it.
There's Walsh and Daze Cloud finishing within 4 seconds of each other.
Basically a tie between the 2 of them.
No, it's 2 seconds for a tie.
Is it 2 seconds?
Imagine if the tie rules actually had to be invoked in the play-in race.
Oh no.
I don't know how that would work. I'm gonna hope it doesn't happen.
And GG to the winner of fluffing. GG Chulo.
Thanks.
Did you have the thought at any point over this 10-minute delay, you know, I could have won this race overall if only I hadn't opened the Eastern Big Chest?
Yes, and that's why I'm like, someone please snipe me. The entire Ganon fight, I was like, looking at a race time, like, I bluffed so hard, don't let me win.
And they indeed did not let you win.
Overall, this was a pretty good run for you. You played well throughout, and items kind of fell in a generally what I would call convenient sequence for you. How did you feel about it as you were going?
Well, I mean, my clown route at the start gave me almost nothing, and then it continued to do that for like quite a while until eventually items started to show up, and then it was just, like trying to figure out where everything was, and it turns out you just need mitts from Hera to get everything from Pod and Shane from there.
Of the 3 racers we've been able to follow between you, Wallkicks, and Freddy, you were the last one to make it to the mirror, but you were the first one to make it to Hera and the mitts, by a few minutes, I believe.
Yeah, that Hera big key ended up being quite a sticking point for both Wallkicks and Freda, who are the other 2 we get to see on this restream, because it's just... Catfish isn't a convenient location.
I mean, with Glove and Flippers, it's a pretty nice location, because you just...
And Milo.
See, another thing that was interesting that I think helped you out quite a bit, you didn't find Thieves Town for a really long time, and Thieves had the Ice Big Key. Wallkicks and Freda both found Thieves very early, had the Ice Big Key from the first 4 chests, so they had 2 crystal dungeons they could finish that had a whole lot of nothing helpful in them that was not leading them toward the Hera Big Key.
We can also call out here, sorry to interject, Wallkicks has now finished in 8th place with a time of 2:12 and 20 seconds, so GG to him as well.
And Brave right behind, so while I guess you're just really hoping, if you're a Freda fan, that he can avoid one more finisher, he's pretty close to done.
That's still a long ride until the end. At this point, if I would have been at 1 2, I would say to myself, I have no chance at this anymore. Like, that Swampert is the in the end for Freda they need this sort of place. But I think we got in here another qualifier for the brackets. I think Wallkicks is here.
Hello, GG's.
GG.
GG's.
This was a terrible seed. I was hovering my mouse over the forfeit mark at like 30 minutes in.
I saw that in your playstyle. I saw a lot of tilt going on.
Oh yeah, I was sideways pretty early on.
Yeah, we were really worried for you about when you were doing Ice Palace.
The Ice Palace thing is just a mistake on my part, but that didn't obviously help my situation because I was already annoyed. I recognized early, I'm going through my head, I'm like, okay, I can complete the dungeon, but I'm like, do I hit the switch? And then I'm like, no, I don't need to hit the switch. And then it became obvious, I'm like, oh, I'm going to need magic. And there wasn't anything very great in magic.
The problem
magic-wise.
The problem was not hitting a switch, the problem was not buying a potion before going into ice.
That too. But money was always somewhat low for like the first hour and 30.
Had you seen the potion shop at that point? I know it was behind the glove.
Yeah, I had seen Potion Shop by then.
Okay.
I think you even had the mushroom to check.
Yeah, I was holding onto the mushroom because I had every intention of fake powdering, but it just kept going and going, and better things kept popping up.
Would you know that 2 of our runners actually benefiting by a fake powdering for a tier small key that both of them actually needed, at least on our stream?
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Also, GG's Jula, by the way.
Yeah, GG's, dude.
The cheater lost first place by fluffing, of course.
Naturally. I would expect nothing less.
I mean, that single green rupee he got out of that Eastern big chest, it really gave him the confidence he needed to do a Tempered Sword Silver's Ganon fight.
Yep.
Where was Hype Cave? I never found it.
Hype Cave was
Ice
the
Palace.
Ice Palace entrance, and that would have been a sword and silver arrows for you.
Gross. So I guess my left side swamp play saved me a little bit. Although, I mean, had I just followed through on my initial play, because like when it came down to hookshot go mode, I'm like, okay, swamp and mire are the 2 most lucrative plays in terms of density. Did swamp first because I'm like, hopefully it's just in here, but if not, mire was going to be my next play. But then I'm like, let's do eastern instead, and then did some cleanup, and I just needed to dip mire.
So one more small cut in here. Apologies for that. Freda has just finished with a time of 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 15 seconds. GG to him. Unfortunately, that is a 12th place finish. So that, and we might have just been joined.
Hello.
Hello there,
Oh.
Freda. Congrats on the finish, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you know that going to Swamp instead of Mire was pretty much curtains for you.
Yeah, I think it would have been close even if I went to Meyer first, and that was the place I was kind of expecting Hookshot to be, but I figured most people would be doing Swamp, and I felt like I went fast enough after getting the Hera Big Key, but I think I was just too far behind getting that Hera Big Key.
Yeah,
You were
I
very
honestly
late
think you
to that Hera Big Key.
probably would have been able to squeak into the top 10 if you'd gone to Mire first. Like,
Yeah, it
you
was
would
about
have
2
been near
minutes,
the
so-
bottom of the top 10, but I think you might have gotten it. It would have been close.
You would have
Yeah.
definitely gotten it. Like,
I should have
Swamp
snuck in
Palace
from the
is longer
sheeple
than
at
2
least.
minutes. You would have
Yeah.
finished like 9th or 10th. Would have been really close.
Yeah.
I want to say that Julo went to Catfish pretty early. I want to say that you and Wall Kicks were close to the same time when it came to the Arabic key. Maybe,
Yeah, I think
maybe not.
Freda was slower to the big key than Wall Kicks yet. It's just the only sort of, I guess, saving grace for you, Freda, is when you found the Hera Big Key, you were at the point where the seed was a straight line after that almost. You just had to go to Mire
Yeah.
on that line because everything that was not behind that Hera Big Key you'd already ruled out.
Pretty much, except for that stuff over in West, in Kakariko and Smith Chain and such, which you got from Hera, so...
Well, yeah, that's all behind the Hera Big Key, you know, the myths
Yeah.
and everything in Pod and all that stuff.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I could have just rushed Meyer. Like, once I got the third Meyer small key, I'm like, okay, it's probably over in left side Meyer. I should probably left side Meyer, but I'm just gonna do Swamp first. I'm not gonna do Meyer. I'm not gonna do the climb before Meyer. I was
mean,
really hoping it wasn't.
mathematically, it's-
Yeah.
Like what? You have 8 chances in Mire. You have like 6 chances in Swamp. One of the 8 chances in Mire is Vitreous, which is a horrible check you'd feel bad about making. It's
Yeah.
close to a coin flip. You can't be too sad of I played a coin flip game and I picked the wrong half. That's just, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes sometimes. Like, that's Crosskeys, and in a race like this, that can be enough.
Yeah, I mean, looking at all the finish times, I mean, I think everyone finished within 10 minutes of each other?
Pretty much, yeah. Except for, apparently Coper just didn't feel like finishing, but...
Well, we just got on the stream our 13th, 14th, and 15th times coming in. 15th being Mal Xanthalos at 2 hours 18 and 47. So, yeah, the only finish on the stream side that we haven't seen is Jay Coper.
And
okay.
I'm really curious to like kind of watch this back and to see how everyone route, because like thinking
Yeah.
about it, you're in a 15-person race, 16-person race with 10 open spots. Like, how does that impact your personal decision making compared to a normal play? Because like for me,
Yeah.
I saw Eastern and immediately went inside, and I
Same.
would never have done that in like a 1v1. But I'm like, this is 16. You know, this is 16-person race. I'm not losing because I'm not dipping Eastern. Thankfully, that had my first freaking weapon because I didn't
Right.
pick up the Cane of Samaria or the hammer until like the hour mark. So I
Yeah, I
got the
don't
fire
I
rod
think I had
and
either as
sword.
well. Yeah. Fire Rod and Sword were my first weapons as well, basically, other than... I think I had the cane.
No,
I
you had
gotten
a cannon
cane.
hammer. Gotten it
Yeah.
early. But
Yeah, that was one of the big, like,
Did I have hammer?
between the three of you,
Yes.
the sort of big differentiation points. One of them was Wall Kicks taking much longer than both Freda and Hulo to go and clear out Hyrule Castle and get your Canis Samaria Hammer care package.
Oh, yeah, hammer wasn't the thing. I took a while to get to Hyrule Castle, too. I thought about it, like, for a while, but just never had a good time to go back. Just too many other connectors to take, and... Was anyone crazy enough to go drop down friggin' Spiral Cave side first and get that early neutral?
I
Didn't
think
need
it was
to.
Freda, one of you
True.
did do that. I think it was Freda who did find it that way. Though I don't know that it was the first drop he checked. I think he
I-
might have just checked all the drops very quickly.
I didn't no, because I
never went through
had the
hookshot.
mirror. I got the mirror super early, I think.
Yeah.
And it
because
must
I
have
had
been
I had it
Hulo.
before.
It's hard to remember
Hack.
who did what, but one
yeah.
of you found that from dropping, and the other two
I
found
did,
it from
yeah.
mirroring.
I found it
I-
from dropping. Yeah.
I found it from dropping. And then like 35 minutes later, I checked the hookshot cave connector and saw that it popped out
Stay.
there, and I'm like, okay, I could have had this 10 minutes into the seed, and just
Right?
again, just so many things just pushed me sideways tilt. I am stunned. I came top 10.
Yeah, you got the mirror pretty early. That helped you in the early game a lot. But did you commit to floating item the first time you found it, or did you went through the first time?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Did I go like when I found hookshot cave? Did I go through it the first time? No.
No. What was it again? I think it was the ballast connector leading to floating island. That was your other way.
Yeah, I found that pretty early, and I had the mirror in hand. And then I'm like, okay, let's check the item. And then as I'm checking the item, I'm like, oh, let's also do the forest right next to it, and then come back. And with the mirror, I was going left because I had already done the bottom of East Death Mountain. So
I mean, the spawn point of the old man was the saving grace of the seed.
Oh, it helped.
It really was
immensely. Just
I used
for
it like
movement
5
purposes.
Yeah.
And getting the flute. I think I got the flute at a decent time. I think that
I got the flute right after Moon Pearl, basically, because I decided to go over. Well, yeah, because I had the hammer at that point, so I got the Moon Pearl after getting kicked out. I think I got kicked out somewhere. Where did I get kicked out?
A lot of the connectors led to boots entrances, which was a lot of pain to go around for all of you.
Yeah, sure was. It wasn't too bad.
The other great thing I did was I bought the big bomb and took it to the pyramid and then opened it up, and it's just the bottom of Paradox. And I was like, are you kidding me?
I was still confused why you did that after finding myths.
I was gonna say, I think 2 of you did that. Only one of you didn't buy the big bomb.
I don't think I marked it off either. I forgot about it.
No, I didn't.
I forgot about it too, though. Yeah.
I did big bomb because like both of your 5-6 crystals were right next to each other in Light World, and the big bomb was in Light World. Like it made sense that there was potentially something important back there.
But, but there is a Maya area with items as well. Why are you?
Yeah, but you have to go to the Dark World. Going to Dark World at 4 is so slow.
At 7.
Not slower than skipping a hookshot, but yeah, I did. I think the potion shop had to be on GT. In GT.
No, potion shop is hookshot cave. Top of hookshot cave.
Oh, I did skip that. Okay, I wasn't sure if I'd skipped that because I like literally made a trip back up to the mountain to check it, and then realized I hadn't marked. Like maybe 45 minutes later, realized I hadn't marked it off on my thing. I'm like, no, I checked that, and I clicked it off, and I'm like, did I check that? And then I just never went back to check. Yeah, I never needed to.
I don't think
I don't know if any of you turned in mushroom and learned what it was.
Well, I'm sure
we'll
it
never
know. Yeah.
I don't remember.
It could have been the other tier small key.
Yeah, that's really the only interesting thing between the 3 of you we didn't see was the last Turtle Rock small key.
Oh, nice. You guys will never guess where my first Castle Tower small key was from.
Oh, I don't know.
It's off of fucking sauce.
Well, I never found the desert big. Feels good, man.
Dumpy.
Oh man, yeah, that's probably lost me the game.
Oh, that's right. I don't know why. I don't know why in my recent Crosskeys seeds, like, I take either forever or I just flat out skip dig game Stumpy.
Because dig game is slow.
Oh, dig game was worth skipping this time, that's for sure. Jeez.
I was wondering for flat and mid game because it did not went for like Seastown Ice Palace for like 10 minutes, but you had the item to full clear both of them and did like overworld stuff instead of going into a dungeon.
The crazy part about it was that they both weren't important. It turns out that the 2 crystal dungeons you could full clear didn't advance you.
But the Seastown led to an extent to have a big key. Not directly, but in one form.
Yeah, I was working my way to Thieves Town for a while. I was kind of like, well, I want to do Thieves Town. Like, oh, I kind of want to fake powder just to see what happens. So I fake powdered for I think one of my Turtle Rock small keys.
I mean, I kept expecting you guys as soon as you had hammer to just go to flute to 7, walk over, take the connector back to the top of castle, and finish Thieves Town. I think you all went back to Thieves Town by mirroring on the pyramid, which I ended up being better because you needed to go to Catfish, I guess.
I ended up pairing it with Desert Big Chest. So I did the Big Chest and then went over and did the rest of Turtle Rock. And that was after doing Killing Landmo, by the way. So...
Yeah, I saw you were like, has 2 crystals, can full clear. Let's take care of Pendant Landmo.
Well, I mean, I got kicked out at a Spectacle Rock after doing Spiral Cave. So I'm like, well, this is the only time I'm ever going to be close enough to do that back in Desert, so I may as well do that now.
Yeah, sometimes the routing, it just leads you into decisions that then when you read them back to yourself, you're like, I kind of wish that it wasn't this
Why
way.
did I do that again? Yeah, I was thinking about doing Dark Shopping Mall for so long, like almost pretty much like since the moment I got the flippers and the Moon Pro, I'm like, Shopping Mall is a thing, because I sequence broke the glove early out of Skull Woods. Well, fairly early. So I'm like, I could do that, because I didn't even do an Ice Rod Cave. But then I'm like, if I find Pod, I don't really have the keys. And then I, of course, ended up being a pendant not necessary anyway. I don't know. The worst part for me is the Hera Big Key. That's what felt the worst. Because I thought about going over and doing all that stuff probably 3 or 4 different times throughout the race and just kept getting distracted. Or I think one time I was like 50 rupees short of Zora money. Then I'm like, oh, well, maybe Pod, because I haven't found Pod yet. I don't want something stupid to be on Dark Shopping Mall. I should have just gone over there the first or second time I thought about it.
I will comment that Pod had a lot of potential to have a lot more intrigue in this seed than it did, because there was a bow, which for wall kicks was a lot more important than for the other 2, and the Ice Rod in the Dark Maze. Shuffle those to other 6 key locked locations, and Pod gets a lot spicier.
Yeah.
Especially if you cannot do the bomb jump. Looking at you, Julo.
You don't need a bomb jump to come second, alright?
Clearly.
I barely made it, to be fair. My controller's been on the fritz. I need to get a new one.
Yeah, I don't know how Julo finished without that bottle from the Harmless Hellway.
I think there was a big 20 on the vanilla big key chest, so that was definitely hard required.
Oh, yeah.
Damn it.
I got them both. They were both super useful, let me tell you.
Heck. Yeah. GG's, everyone.
GG's.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I think this is... does anyone else have anything important to add, or should we wrap this thing up?
I want more big Crosskeys races. Those are a lot of fun.
This seed sucked. The end.
I mean, Allison rolled it, so yeah.
And I immediately commented that I shouldn't have rolled it.
I'm just glad it was not a hover seed. If this would have come down to a hover seed, I would have been mad.
I was.
If Hook Shot was up the climb, I was going to be
so
annoyed.
happy when Helmasaur King dropped that pendant. It was all he wanted to see.
I was so thankful, actually, when that pendant fell.
Oh, you ended up doing Helmasaur? Jeez.
Yeah, I still needed it.
I already had. I happen to have both Pod and Meyer maps. I'm like, well,
nice.
Those are the last 2 pendants. There we go.
I learn something every time I get to watch these, and especially with quality co-commentators like Amphros and Schulzer here. I don't know how much I helped with the show, but I definitely feel like it was a blast to be here. So thanks y'all for putting all this on, and thanks for having us.
Yeah, this was a chaotic one for sure for everyone, probably including the runners, but thanks a lot, everyone, for watching, and I hope everyone's looking forward to this bracket. This is going to be the whole tournament's felt a little stacked. This bracket's going to be intense.
This is a murderer's row right here. So,
by the way, Chulo, you have to face Lynn in the next round. Have fun.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
If they are seeding this game like the places 7 to 16, you have to face Lynn.
Yeah, because it
If
should
Because
be
it's 8
proceeding based off
Can I
the
take a
finish
dodge
here.
on that?
Yeah,
Howard
that would make
Face
sense.
Lynn?
top 16.
Because it's 8 against 9,
Everybody
and
just go
Walking's
robot on me.
still up to debate.
Did my internet die?
Hello, Freddy.
Did he sim over? Be done?
Ooh.
I think Discord might be dying.
I don't know what's happening, but I think we should wrap up the stream.
I'm still here.
We're still here, but I think no, we should just wrap up the stream at this point. I think we have said everything here. So Tomotach, take it away. If he is here.
There we go.
Alright.
I was having trouble with the link.
Thanks, Discord.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Discord just telling us it's time to wrap things up.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. So Wally, Joel, and Fred, thanks for a great show. Sharky, AA, and Schulzer, thank you guys for coming. Scott, Schulzer, thank you guys for helping me track. So not much else going on tonight, I don't think, on ZSR. We've got some MMR stuff going on and some Wind Waker fun race, but not much else. I don't have a raid target in mind, so let me go figure out who I'm going to raid. But yeah, thank you all for coming out and watching. Thank you guys for putting on a great race, and have a good night, everyone.
Have a great night.
GG's, everyone.
GG's.
Good game.